Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when we ask, why did this happen to me? Perhaps you have asked yourself this very question after enduring the presence of someone who drained you, deceived you, or made you question your own worth. But hear me now. You were never placed in their life by accident. You were sent to shake their world, whether they realized it or not. You were the mirror they could not escape, the challenge they could not manipulate, and the presence that forced them to face a truth they spent years avoiding. Perhaps they continued in their ways. Perhaps they never changed. That is not your failure. That is their burden to carry. There are no coincidences in life. Every encounter, every challenge, and every person who crosses our path is there for a reason. You may have wondered why you were placed in the life of a narcissist, why you endured their manipulation, their deceit, and their relentless pursuit of control. It might have felt like a punishment, an unfair burden placed upon your shoulders, but in reality, it was a divine assignment, one that was never about them, but about you. When you walked into their life, you disrupted their world in ways they never expected. Narcissists thrive in an environment where they can manipulate, deceive, and extract what they need from others without consequence. They surround themselves with people who validate their illusions, who play into their grandiosity, and who allow them to continue their cycles of self-serving behavior. And then, there was you. You were different. You carried something within you that they did not. Authenticity, empathy, and an inner light that could not be easily dimmed. That light was both attractive and threatening to them. They may have initially admired you, drawn to your kindness, your patience, your unwavering ability to love without condition. But soon they realized something dangerous. You could see them. Not the version of themselves they carefully curated, not the facade they projected to the world, but the truth they so desperately tried to hide. And that is where your presence became a force they could not control. You were not placed in their life to be another enabler, another silent participant in their illusions. No, you were placed there to challenge them, to force them to confront the parts of themselves they wished to bury. Perhaps they reacted with anger, with cruelty, with even greater deception. That is their nature after all. But what matters most is not how they responded. It is what you discovered. You discovered that their words, no matter how sharp, did not define you. You realized that their perception of you was never a reflection of your true worth. And when the time came, you chose to walk away, not in defeat, but in triumph, because the lesson was never about making them change. It was never about fixing them. It was about you seeing your own strength. God put you in their life not to suffer, but to grow. He placed you there not to lose yourself, but to find the unshakable power within you. You were never just another person in their cycle. You were a divine disruption, a lesson they may never understand. And more importantly, you were given the opportunity to step into a greater version of yourself. So when you look back, do not see pain, see purpose. Because that experience was not the end of you, it was the making of you. In every relationship, there is a dynamic, a balance of energies, intentions, and lessons. When you found yourself entangled with a narcissist, you may have questioned why you were drawn to them, why you stayed, or why your heart felt compelled to care despite the pain. But understand this: you were placed in their life for a reason. You were not just another person to fill their void or fuel their ego. You had a role, one far greater than you may realize. You see, narcissists are experts at deception, not just deceiving others, but deceiving themselves. They construct an identity built on illusion, carefully crafted to shield them from their deepest fears: rejection, inadequacy, and the terrifying thought that, underneath it all, they are not as grand as they pretend to be. They spend their lives curating admiration, manipulating those around them, and controlling their environment to maintain their fragile sense of self. But when an empath, a deeply compassionate and intuitive soul, enters their life, something unusual happens. The mask they wear begins to crack. Your presence was never passive. You did not merely exist in their world, you challenged it. Not by force, not by confrontation, but simply by being who you are, someone who sees beyond the surface, who loves without conditions, and who offers a depth of connection they are unaccustomed to. At first, this intrigued them. They fed off your energy, absorbing your kindness, your patience, your unwavering belief in their potential. But soon, they realized something dangerous. You could see them, not just the charming facade, not just the version of themselves they wanted you to believe in. You saw their wounds, their fears, their emptiness, the things they work so hard to hide from the world. And for a narcissist, this is intolerable. They do not want to be seen for who they truly are. They do not want to confront the truth of their own pain. Instead, they seek control. They try to manipulate, distort reality, and make you doubt what you know to be true, because if they can convince you that they are in control, they can continue living in their illusion. But here is where your role becomes clear. You were not meant to be controlled. You were not placed in their life to be a pawn in their game. You were there to bring light into their darkness, even if only for a moment. You were there to show them, whether they accepted it or not, that genuine love and authenticity exist beyond their need for power. Perhaps they never changed. Perhaps they pushed you away, discarded you, or sought to hurt you when they realized they could not bend you to their will. But that is not your failure. That is their loss. Because what they failed to understand is that your role was never to fix them. It was to awaken something in them, something they may never admit or acknowledge. And whether they learn from it or not, you have already fulfilled your purpose. Strength is not born from ease, it is forged in adversity. When you found yourself in the presence of a narcissist, you were not just experiencing a difficult relationship, you were stepping into one of the most profound tests of your resilience. At times it may have felt like you were drowning, caught in a storm of manipulation, gaslighting, and emotional exhaustion. You may have doubted yourself, wondering why you were enduring such pain or if you were strong enough to break free. But here is the truth. You were never weak. You were learning just how strong you truly are. Narcissists have a way of making people question their reality. They twist words, shift blame, and use emotional tactics to keep control over those they claim to love. They feed on confusion, knowing that the more uncertain you are, the easier you are to manipulate. But what they underestimate is the resilience of someone who carries a true heart. They believe that because you are kind, you are weak, that because you are forgiving, you will always stay. But kindness is not weakness, and forgiveness is not permission for mistreatment. Through the pain, you were learning. Every moment of self-doubt forced you to look within and rediscover your worth. Every attempt to make you question yourself became an opportunity to stand firm in your truth. And every wound they inflicted became the fire that forged your strength. It was never about how much you could endure. It was about realizing that you never had to endure it at all. You see, the lesson was not about surviving the narcissist. It was about reclaiming yourself. They may have sought to control you, but in the process, they taught you something they never intended to, how to break free. And when you finally did, you stepped into a power they could never take from you. The strength you discovered is not just about walking away. It is about the wisdom you carry now, the ability to recognize manipulation, the courage to set boundaries, and the deep understanding that your worth is not determined by how much pain you can tolerate. It is measured by how much love and respect you demand for yourself. So do not regret the experience. Do not waste time wondering why it happened. Instead, see it for what it truly was, a training ground for your resilience. You are not the same person who first walked into that situation. You have grown, evolved, and emerged stronger than you ever thought possible. And now, as you stand on the other side, remember this. The strength you have gained is yours to keep. No one can take it from you. No one can diminish what you have built within yourself. The narcissist may have tried to break you, but all they did was reveal the warrior that was inside you all along. A narcissist thrives on illusion. They construct a carefully curated world, one where they are always in control, always admired, and never at fault. They manipulate reality to suit their desires, convincing those around them to see only what they want them to see. And for a time, you may have been drawn into that illusion, believing in the charm, the promises, the carefully crafted persona they presented to you. But then something happened. You saw through it. You did not set out to challenge them. You did not enter their life to expose their falsehoods, but your very existence. Your authenticity and your ability to love deeply and truly was a direct threat to the carefully maintained illusion they lived in. You were different. You did not blindly accept their version of reality. You asked questions. You noticed inconsistencies. You saw the cracks in the perfect image they projected. And that, to a narcissist, is the most dangerous thing of all. Someone who sees them for who they really are. Perhaps at first, they tried harder to keep you under their spell. They showered you with affection, made you feel special, and convinced you that what you had was unique. But when they realized you were not easily deceived, the mask began to slip. The lies became more desperate, the manipulations more aggressive, and the emotional games more damaging. They needed to regain control, to pull you back into their illusion, because if you saw them for who they truly were, it meant they had failed. But you did see them, and no matter how much they tried to convince you otherwise, no matter how many times they twisted reality to make you doubt yourself, you knew the truth. They could not erase what you had already realized, and that is where your true power lies. Not in changing them, not in getting them to admit their faults, but in refusing to accept the illusion any longer. That alone was enough to disrupt their world. You may not have been able to break their cycle, but you broke their hold on you. You refused to be another person lost in their manipulation. You refused to accept a love that was built on deception. And that is what a narcissist cannot stand. Someone who sees the truth and walks away anyway. You did not need to fight them. You did not need to prove anything. Simply by recognizing the reality of who they are, you shattered the illusion. They may move on, finding someone else to ensnare in their carefully built world, but they will always remember you, the one who saw behind the curtain, the one they could not fully control. And now, as you stand in the clarity of truth, remember this: the power was never in them. It was always in you. The moment you broke the illusion, you won. Pain is often seen as something to be avoided, something to run from, something that weakens us. But in reality, pain is one of life's greatest teachers. It strips away illusion, forces us to confront our deepest truths, and, when faced with courage, transforms us into something greater than we ever imagined. When you encountered the narcissist, you were not just walking into a toxic relationship. You were stepping into a profound lesson, one that would shape you in ways you never expected. At first, the pain may have felt unbearable. The manipulation, the gaslighting, the slow erosion of your confidence. It all took its toll. You may have felt trapped, wondering why someone who claimed to care for you could hurt you so deeply. You may have questioned your own reality, your own worth, your own ability to love and be loved in return. But what you did not realize in those moments of despair was that something powerful was happening beneath the surface. You were growing. Every wound they inflicted, every tear you shed, every moment you doubted yourself, it all became the foundation for something new. The person you were before could not see the depths of their deception, could not recognize the patterns of manipulation, could not fully grasp the importance of self-worth. But the person who emerged from the pain? That person could. That person had been through the fire and had come out stronger. Pain has a way of forcing us to look within. It pushes us to ask the hard questions. Why did I allow this? What part of me was willing to accept less than I deserved? Where did I lose myself along the way? And in asking these questions, we begin to uncover the truth, not about them, but about ourselves. Because the real victory was never about changing the narcissist. It was about rediscovering the power that was within you all along. You see, narcissists believe they are strong because they control others, but true strength comes not from control but from self-awareness. It comes from being able to endure pain and turn it into wisdom. It comes from recognizing your worth even when someone else tries to diminish it. It comes from learning how to set boundaries, how to walk away, how to choose yourself over the illusion of love. So do not see your pain as wasted time. Do not regret the experience, no matter how much it hurt. Instead, recognize it for what it truly was. Your awakening. The version of you that now stands in the light of truth is wiser, stronger, and more capable than ever before. The wounds may still be there, but they are no longer signs of weakness. They are proof that you endured, that you overcame, that you refused to be broken. And now, as you step forward, know this. Your pain was not the end of you. It was the beginning of something far greater. Success is often misunderstood. Many believe it is measured by external achievements, wealth, recognition, or the ability to change others. But true success, the kind that lasts, is something far deeper. It is not found in controlling circumstances or fixing broken people. It is found in the quiet realization that you are whole, regardless of what anyone else says or does. When you encountered the narcissist, you may have thought your purpose was to love them enough to change them. You saw their potential, the flashes of kindness, the moments of vulnerability that made you believe they could heal. You gave your time, your energy, your love. All in the hope that if you just tried hard enough, they would become the person you knew they could be. But what you did not yet realize was that success in this situation was never about them. It was about you. A narcissist's greatest power lies in their ability to make others believe they are responsible for their happiness. They convince people to stay by weaving a story of unfinished potential. If only you were more patient, if only you loved them better, if only you forgave them just one more time, then things would be different. But no matter how much you gave, the outcome never changed. That is because the lesson was never about saving them. It was about learning that your worth does not depend on how much you endure. Your success is not in fixing them. Your success is in the moment you realized you never needed to. It is in the moment you recognized that your love, no matter how deep, could not fill the emptiness inside them. It is in the moment you chose yourself over their manipulation. That is victory. Walking away from a toxic relationship is not failure. It is a declaration of self-respect. It is proof that you have learned the lesson life was trying to teach you, that you deserve love that does not require suffering. And in making that choice, you have already succeeded in ways the narcissist never will. They remain trapped in their patterns, cycling through relationships, searching for validation that will never satisfy them. But you are free. You are free to build a life where your energy is not drained by someone else's selfishness. Free to cultivate relationships that are built on mutual respect. Free to exist without constantly questioning your worth. That is what real success looks like. It is not about how much you gave to someone who could never appreciate it. It is about how much you grew from the experience. It is about the wisdom you now carry, the strength you have discovered, and the self-love that no one can take from you. So when you look back, do not see failure. see triumph. Because you did not just survive the narcissist, you rose above them. And that is a victory they will never be able to take from you. Healing is not a single moment, it is a journey. When you finally walked away from the narcissist, you may have thought the hardest part was over. But then came the silence, the self-doubt, and the lingering echoes of their voice in your mind. You may have wondered if you made the right choice. You may have missed them, not for who they truly were, but for the illusion they created. And in those moments, healing may have felt impossible. But healing does not happen all at once. It unfolds slowly, like the breaking of dawn after a long and endless night. Each day, in small and often unnoticeable ways, you take steps forward. The pain does not vanish overnight, but with each passing moment, it loses its power over you. At first you may feel lost, as if a part of you is missing. That is because the narcissist conditioned you to depend on them, not for real love, but for validation, for permission to feel worthy. They made you question your own mind, making you believe that you were nothing without them. But the truth is, they were nothing without you. You were the light in their darkness, the source of energy they fed off, the one who brought warmth into their cold and empty world. And now, without them, you are not lost, you are free. Free to rebuild yourself without the weight of their manipulation, free to learn who you truly are outside of their influence. Free to reclaim your happiness, your confidence, your sense of self. At first, healing feels like survival. You focus on getting through the day, on quieting the thoughts that tell you to go back. But then something shifts. One day, you wake up and realize that their words no longer define you. Their absence no longer haunts you. The memories that once felt so painful become distant, as if they happened to someone else. That is when you know you have healed. Not because the scars have disappeared, but because they no longer control you. Because you can look back and see the experience for what it was. A lesson, not a life sentence. Healing is not about forgetting what happened. It is about finding peace despite it. It is about looking at yourself and realizing that you are stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. It is about knowing that you did not lose yourself in that relationship. You found yourself. And now, as you move forward, you carry something the narcissist never will: growth. They remain trapped in their cycles, unable to evolve, unable to change. But you have risen above it. You have taken your pain and turned it into power. You have taken your suffering and turned it into wisdom. And that, more than anything else, is proof that you have truly healed.